It's Sunday morning. Working on the studio, trying to get it ready for walls. I've got started last night with the soundproofing insulation on the ceiling. I've discovered some things. I'm not a carpenter, as I think I mentioned before, but I discovered some things about my design that were slightly flawed. So I've gone through and made some corrections, and I've got a couple more corrections to make. But the specifics of it, if you have a look at the ceiling, you can see, as I mentioned in the previous video, the rock's all safe and sound. I've got the floor joists above that are now filled in, and I've got the soundproofing insulation run between the floor joists above, and then my drop ceiling. I've got the insulation mostly in. You can see the light fixtures are the cans. I'm not going to be able to go double layered around the can, but I can go on either side of it. So it's going to have a possibility of sound getting up through there, but it's going to be minimal, I think. There's only so much you can do with the amount of space I had. But I've cut the hole out for my studio window here, as you can see. Yeah, there you go. But to get this to the right measurement, as you can see, I've got the 2x4s cut with a gap here of 1.5 inches. That's the thickness of a 2x4. So looking at the foundation of it, coming across here, I've got my electrical wiring below, and the window itself is 56 inches by 39.5 inches. So I cut the width of it 57.5 to accommodate the framing boards that I'm going to use for the window frame. Those are going to be 3/4 inch each. So I've got 3/4 inches on the right and on the left, 1.5 inch extra, so 56 plus 1.5 inches, 57.5. So the 2x4 foundations above and below, I'm going to cut a 2x4 to length for the frame around the window, so that the hole is completely exposed, and then the framing boards for the window frame will be screwed into those 2x4s. I'll have to use screws at the point where the window is going to be covering the screws to avoid any kind of you know appearance issues. I don't want it to show. But once it's all done, the window is going to be leaning just a few degrees in towards the studio. The door is in, as can be seen here, mounted up nicely. The issues that I mentioned, for those who may be considering doing something like this, always remember, when you are framing a wall and you're planning on putting in the ceiling, put something for the ceiling to screw into. In this case, I had the wall coming across here, and there was nothing above it. So when the ceiling was going to go into place, be coming across, and it would just be an open space, and there would be nothing to attach it to. So I had to go back in and take a couple of 2x4s and just hammered nails into them in a couple of spaces. It's not going to be supporting a tremendous amount of weight because it's just thin paneling that I'm using for the ceiling. Not drywall. But I did this above the door. Same thing. As you can see here, I just put it there above the door, and I had to do the same thing back here in the back corner of the room. This was a royal pain because I already put the drywall up on the outside of the wall, which is what do they call it, rock board or something like that. When I first started putting this in, I was like, okay, I'll just take another board and put it behind it and shim it a little bit so that it's got this tight fit, and then I'll drive the nail in. Well, what I didn't think about is the fact that this drywall is not very solid. It just pushed the screw out through the other side, pulled the screw through the drywall, and damaged the drywall. So, in retrospect, that was a bad idea. Having studied physics, I should have understood this. But the method that I had to use to get this in was I actually took a pipe wrench after finding that I was going to be breaking the drywall. I grabbed the pipe wrench, large one, and locked it onto the board about here. Minor annealing on the board here, but not a big deal. Grabbed the thing with the pipe wrench, torqued it into place, drove the nail the rest of the way, no problem. Later, had to do the same thing on the other wall, and back here, where are we at now? So back here, it was a little tighter, but what I ended up doing is I got my wife to assist me by taking a 2x4 as such and bracing it against the wall. And when she pressed here, there was enough tension to hold the board into place. It's just got to hold the wall, just keeping it from falling over with tack nails, so it shouldn't be a problem. So next up is finishing up the insulation in the ceiling. I got to do some cutting. The insulation I'm using, don't think I showed that in a previous video, is the Roxol Safe and Sound. It's like I think it's made out of, what is it, volcanic material, and they grind it up into some sort of a fibrous compound, and it's about 3 inches thick. This top one's a little bit compressed because it was in the bag, but you can see the thickness of the layers here. When you put it in, the sound level transmission radiation through the room gets very, very dull, which is great. I don't have anything else to do at the moment for the video, but I still am contemplating how I'm going to fix the place above the window where, you know, again, not being a carpenter, didn't plan for that. I'm going to have to put something up there to accommodate a wall above the window so the concrete isn't just exposed. But it's coming along, and I should have my sound booth sometime in the next week or two, and then I can start an actual studio. So I want to get this room done. See you next time.